Hello my friends all over the world, wherever you are. William Poloniak here again from Whole Health Foundation, and today I'm going to make some apple juice using Granny Smith apples and a little bit of ginger. First step is to cut them into quarters. Now normally I would cut these apples into quarters, but they look a little too big, so because these apples are huge, I'm going to cut them into sixths. So 6 pieces per apple to make sure they fit into the feed tube. And today I'm going to use the Whole Health Foundation Premium Model Juicer with the solid bottom plate that enables me to get 10% more juice. So let's go to the next step. The first step is to plug in the thermometer, and I remind you to put a little butter in the sensor hole to help it lubricate it, but I doubt we're going to need the thermometer. And I'm going to use the near zero blowback cutter that has over 80 teeth cut into the 5 blades, and that shreds produce 4 degrees centigrade cooler. Now notice I'm using a front loading feed tube. This eliminates blowback 100%. You will never get blowback up to your ceiling. So let's first of all unplug the thermometer and put the cutter on. And we'll plug the thermometer in, and because we have a leg height kit on here, we can use a wide mouth jar to collect pulp. Now I'm going to collect pulp in wide mouth jars instead of a large bowl, but first I'm going to put in a couple of ice cubes, maybe 3 ice cubes, to cool down the cutter and the feed tube. Next I'll start feeding in the apples. We'll add the ginger to this one. Now ginger is very, very fibrous, so what I'm going to do now is clean the grid both sides, and then continue. Now here's my last wedge of apple, and it looks like we didn't need the ice cubes with the apples because they were cool enough, but I want to point out that because of the front-loading feed tube, I can look in here to see if the apple is shred or not, and it looks like a little bit is not shred. So what I'm going to do is put some pulp in here and force whatever produce is in there through. And then what I'll do is clean the feed tube. Let's put the rest of this pulp in here, force that through. I'll clean the feed tube and the grid and grid holder and show you how I make apple juice with ginger using the bamboo liners. So first we'll clean the grid and grid holder. Now the first thing I'm going to do is crack the ice on the cloths. I keep separate cloths for apple, cantaloupe, every kind of fruit, mango in the freezer in separate bags. I never like to mix my vegetable with my fruit. So what I'll do now is take these cloths apart, and I'm going to line them with a bamboo liner, and the bamboo liner prevents pulp from sticking to the cloth and giving you a cleanup nightmare, like so. And I'm going to line this with a bamboo liner down to the end of my roll here. Looks like I've only got 2 sheets left. That's just what I need. Now what I'm going to do next is well, first of all we'll take the feed tube off, and then whatever pulp is left in the feed tube I'm going to put into the first cloth. Now I like to assemble clean parts before I make my juice. And every juicer sold by Whole Health Foundation comes with this cleaning brush. And the next step is to clean the front of the juicer. Now I have a spray nozzle to clean the front, but first I'm going to take my brush that comes with the juicer and clean the front. And you notice I go up on the left and down on the right so that the wing nuts don't tighten, they unscrew. And I'll take a spray nozzle and then assemble, and then I'll make my apple juice. Now generally speaking, you take half of the container. Oh, that's way too much. So we'll have to put some back in here. Half a container is about a cup to a cup and a half, and you don't want to put more than that in each cloth. So the first thing we'll do is fold a bamboo liner over, like I'm doing here, in thirds. And then we'll fold the cloth over the bamboo liner, like so. And I'm going to put this aside because I want to press 2 cloths full at one time. Oh, bamboo liner. I almost forgot. And we'll put this in here, the rest of this pulp. Let's get a spatula to get the rest of that out. Don't want to waste anything. And fold the bamboo liner over. Now we're going to reuse this bamboo liner because they're very strong, and generally speaking, they don't burst. Unless you're doing fruit juice, they'll burst at the corners a tiny bit. But they do protect the cloths from the pulp sticking to it. So there we have 2 packages, and I'm going to put that in the press. First we'll put a bowl under. Put this in the press, centered. We're going to center this left to right and front to back, turn it all the way back, back it off. Now especially with fruit, you back it off so the cloths don't slip apart. And I notice I have a lot of juice in my folding tray, so I'm going to put this juice into the collection bowl. And when you have juice flow, advance that all the way. Now we'll turn the machine off while we load these cloths up again. Now I'll remind you, you do not throw away this bamboo liner. Unfold it, and we'll put another half container of pulp on top of this already spent pulp. And this time I'm going to be more careful. I want to make sure I have only a half a container. Fold that over like so. And later I'm going to show you how we can get 10% more juice by repackaging it and then pressing it again. And that's the beauty of the Whole Health Foundation model with this solid bottom plate. And again, you can reuse these bamboo liners as many times as you want, usually up to 6 or 7 times, so they're very, very affordable. And the rest of the pulp. Make sure we get all of that pulp. And again, we'll fold the bamboo liner over as we did before. And as I suspected with fruit, they usually burst at the corners a little bit, but we'll put this into a tight package. And we'll press our last 2 cloths. Then we'll demonstrate how you get 10% more juice. 2 more cloths into the press. Centered, left to right, centered front to back, all the way back. Back it off a little bit. Turn on the machine. Well, so far we have, looks like 40 ounces of juice. Now what I'm going to do is take this pulp, bamboo liner and all, and form it into as tight a package as I can make. And I'm going to fold that with a special folding technique, folding the cloth under so that it doesn't slip, minimize slipping. 3, 4, 5, 6 times, as many times as you can. And then, in both directions, fold it under. Flatten it, set it aside, and do the same thing with this one. Bamboo liner and all, form it into a tight ball, and the same folding technique. You're folding it under so that the cloth does not slip apart, and you want as tight and as small a package as you can make. And folding it under, and I'm going to flatten that, put both cloths together, and put it in the press. Now the next step, of course, is to throw away the pulp and clean the cloths. And because of the bamboo liner, take a look at how clean that cloth is. Now we'll scrub the cloths clean in case there's any pulp in here, and then we'll press them out on the press and pour the juice into bottles. Then we'll do a taste test. Now I want to point out one thing many people never do, and that is clean around the edges of your press plate, because you'll get all kinds of either calcium or other produce buildup. And also, you want to clean the upper press plate and around the juice, and we'll do that in a minute. But first, let's fold these in thirds as they came packaged, and then we'll press the water out. And since we only have 2 cloths, we'll do this on camera. And before we press the water out, we're going to clean the press area. Now with the paper towel, clean the upper press all the way around, and the side, and the bottom also. And as you can see, I hope you can see on the cloth why it was advisable to clean the cloth. We've got ginger stains and apple stains here. Alright, next we'll press the water out of the cloths, put them back in the freezer, and I'm going to use the press plate to catch the water. Okay, and I'm going to wait until all the water's pressed out, and then since we only have 2 cloths, there we have droplets. It doesn't take long to clean them with only 2 cloths. So let's turn off the machine, and these will go into a plastic bag and back into the freezer. And the reason we keep them in the freezer is germs and airborne contaminants cannot grow in the freezer. Yeah, it looks like we're going to have 3 bottles and enough for a taste test. Well, my friends, as you can see, I have 3 full bottles, approximately 14 ounces each, and enough for a taste test. Let's give it a taste. Granny Smith apples with ginger, delicious. But for me, much too sweet. So what I'm going to do is mix these 50% water, and we'll do another taste test. Definitely much too concentrated and too sweet for me. You might want to only put 20% water, or not at all. I'm going to mix these 50% with water. And one more bottle. Now I'm going to do a taste test 50% with water. Diluted apple juice. Here we go. For me, this is much better. Still sweet, still a good drink. Well, I hope you like what you see, my friends, and if you do, please tell a friend. If you'd like to call me to buy a juicer, to buy parts, or get advice, you can reach me at 760-753-0321. If you prefer email, it's developtrust@cox.net, and my webpage is wholehealthfound.com. See you in the next video. Delicious.